Chapter 16. Ahoy, matey. Barry tried to scramble back from the water, but his feet slipped again, almost sending him overboard. The wood was too slick. His heart hammered. He was terrified of the ocean. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The shadow was still circling under the gangplank. Finally, Barry yanked himself back to his feet, using the rope railing. That was close. He still didn't know what was lurking in the water, and he didn't want to know. One thought shot through his head. If I get through this, then I'm spending the rest of my life on dry land. With his heart pounding in his chest, Barry sprinted the rest of the way down the gangplank, stowing away aboard the pirate ship. His feet pounded against the slick wooden deck. Overhead, the masts loomed like wooden spikes, while the skull and crossbones on the black flag stared down at him. He passed the plank that jutted out over the ocean. Just looking at it gave him chills. The ocean seemed hungry beneath it. He could hear Captain Hook's voice in his head. "I'll make ye walk the plank." He glanced around nervously, scanning the shadows for the pirate. So far, the ship appeared deserted. All he had to do was sneak back down into the captain's cabin, and put the hook back where he found it in the secret compartment. Then all this would stop. It has to stop. He gripped his backpack straps in determination, feeling the hook's weight inside. He'd known it was wrong to steal it, but he'd done it anyway. He couldn't believe how foolish he had been to think and that never growing up sounded like a good idea. Of course, all the sugary treats and extra television time had been great at first, not to mention getting out of his chores and homework, but the excitement had worn off fast and things had turned sour. This was the only way that he could keep his friends and make Captain Hook stop. "I'll fix it," he thought, as he raced down the deck, "even if it's the last thing I do." He had almost reached the stairs that led down to the captain's cabin. Relief rushed through him, but then he heard something that made him skid to a halt. Thump, thump. Barry glanced back. A tall, dark figure stepped out onto the deck. His beady eyes bored into Barry. The rest of his face was dark, cast into shadow. But there was no mistake who it was. His voice thundered out. "Blasted idiot! How dare you sneak onto my ship!" Captain Hook unsheathed his sword. His other hand ended in a stump where the hook should have been. He slashed at Barry. The sharp metal whizzed by his head as he dodged it. Captain Hook, sir," Barry stammered, backing away with his hands raised. But Captain Hook lurched at him, slashing at Barry with the sword. Whoosh! Barry ducked away, backing up more. "Look, I brought your hook back. Just please make the stop. It was wrong to take it. I want to grow up after a bloody thief and liar," Captain Hook said. "But I'll give your hook back," Barry said, backing away. "I never should have taken it, and then I'll leave your ship for good. I'm really, really sorry." "Think you can make a fool of Hook?" Captain Hook snarled at him. "You're not the first boy to play a prank on me, but you'll be the last. I want my revenge." Clearly, the pirate didn't want to be reasonable, Barry thought. With that, he turned and ran as fast as he could toward the stairs that led down to the interior deck. Maybe if he put the hook back in his cabin, then it would break the curse, and the pirate would stop attacking him. The hook was what the pirate wanted, right? Barry sprinted down the steps. He took them two at a time, almost tripping and falling flat on his face. Behind him, he could hear Captain Hook's heavy boots pounding the deck. Thump, thump, and his sword swooshing through the air. Captain Hook was getting closer. Barry hit the bottom of the stairs, right as the ship rocked under his feet. Through the windows in the side, he could see that a big storm was sweeping into the bay. The winds had picked up dramatically, driving the waves and making them churn. Lightning pulsed in the sky, lighting up the ocean and making it look wild and dangerous. The ship swayed more, lurching dramatically sideways. Barry had to struggle to stay upright, grabbing onto the wall. His eyes locked on the door at the end of the hall. He could just make out the outline in the dim light. "Scurvy brat! I'll have my revenge!" Captain Hook yelled down the stairs. Barry darted down the hall, past the painting of Hook, and reached the door to the captain's cabin. He could still hear Captain Hook's voice chasing after him. "I'm not leaving this harbor until I get my revenge," the pirate yelled. "You can't make a fool of Hook." The sign on the door still read "Closed for Restoration." But Barry didn't care. He wrestled with the bronze doorknob, desperate to get away from Captain Hook. But it didn't budge. The door was locked. Just then, the ship rocked violently as another wave hit it. Barry fell to his knees. Panicked, he tried to stand up. Thump, thump. His eyes fell on a pair of black boots as they stepped into view. Byron looked up to see Captain Hook's shadowy figure stretched over him. He raised his sword overhead, then brought it down. "Caught you, scurvy brat!" Then everything went black.